Is the mic on? The mic is on. After a week of absence, we are back here on the TWYR Weekly Podcast. Before we begin, I forgot this last time, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any more highlights, videos, podcasts. I might do a diecast review in a few weeks, probably when I come back from the 500, because I'll probably have some stuff to look at. We've got some NASCAR news. We've got stuff coming up this week. We have some IndyCar, some interesting IndyCar news, and some probably going to have a bit of a longer episode, considering that there's going to be a sizable chunk of it that is going to be me yelling at Mark Miles for just sitting on his butt and collecting his paycheck and not doing anything for IndyCar. But that aside, subscribe, hit the bell, like the video, share, all that good stuff to get the good old Al Gore rhythm trademark going. Let's look at some NASCAR news from Darlington. Trucks was a mess. I don't even watch the races anymore. This series is so, it's a bunch of young people. It's like a bunch of teenagers, versus a bunch of has-beens. It's cup drivers that want easy prize money versus teenagers actually looking for a quality ride. And most of those teenagers aren't going to get a good quality ride because they aren't that good. Race was rain delayed. It was won by, of course, a couple each, Ross Chastain. But interestingly enough, a couple each finished last. Kyle Busch finishes last in a truck race for the first time in his career. Kyle Busch is usually considered, like the GOAT of the truck series. He's got, how many wins did he has? He's got to have 100. Okay, I checked. He's got 63 Cup wins. He's got 102 Xfinity wins, and he's got 66 truck wins. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But he finished last for the first time in a truck race in his career. The race was won by Ross Chastain. Moving on to Xfinity. A lot of cool throwbacks. Justin Allgaier won. There wasn't really a... That's another thing. I don't watch NASCAR on Fox outside of the Cup races. I really need to get on watching some of these lower series races. But the Xfinity race was won by Justin Allgaier, and the Cup race, of course, the big show, the main feature. Brad Keselowski breaks his 110 race winless streak and ends Ford's win drought. This was Ford's first win of the season in any of the three series. They hadn't won in Trucks, Xfinity, or Cup until, I think, Darlington is race 13 of the season. And it's a Cup win for Brad Keselowski, who breaks his own winless streak. It looked like it was going to be Chris Buescher getting revenge for last week at Kansas, where he finished second in the closest finish in Cup history. That would not happen. He collided with Tyler Reddick, took them both out of the running, and let Brad Keselowski through. And he went on to take the win over Ty Gibbs, who everyone jokingly calls the second coming because he was driving the Jesus car. We had the IndyCar series at the IMS Road Course. Go watch the highlights video. I'll leave a card. Won't spoil too much, but well, I will spoil too much because I'll tell you who wins, but I'm not going to give you a ton of details. Alex Palou won. Power finished runner-up again, and Santino Ferrucci and Romain Grosjean are having beef again. This has also carried over into Indy 500 practice. I've posted a short that I might also leave a card for right here. This is so dumb. The only bit of NASCAR news, they've announced, I believe this is with their partnership with Turner Television, TNT, and that whole network. They will have a $1 million in-season tournament where you're basically it's like their version of March Madness, which is stupid. It's more bracket stuff. It's more 1v1 bracket type tournament systems in auto racing, where auto racing is not built for these 1v1 bracket type systems. It's going to be a $1 million in season tournament. It's going to be 32 drivers. I believe whoever gets the best, whoever beats the other moves on. So it's going to create storylines. But the second, the first race will be at Atlanta on June 28th, 2025, I believe. That date is now confirmed. Atlanta is only in the playoffs for this year, which kind of sucks, but I actually really like Atlanta. It's just a different track. I really hope they don't turn Texas into Atlanta, but that's mainly as an IndyCar fan. But I also don't like it because that would make Atlanta not special anymore. And also, people would be comparing it to Texas, which is that's weird to think about. Championship weekend's returning to Phoenix. And going back to Texas Motor Speedway, some sad news. Yesterday, former Texas Motor Speedway track president Eddie Gossage passed away at the age of 65. Obviously, thinking of his family, one of the greatest promoters, not only for NASCAR, that somehow got people to show up to a NASCAR race at Texas Motor Speedway. But he also loved IndyCar, which is why IndyCar stayed at Texas for so long. Texas Motor Speedway management now really doesn't like IndyCar because they don't bring in a crowd, which really sucks because Texas is one of the best races of the year, and it was on an upward trajectory compared to other tracks. Like, I think the issue with Texas is Texas suffered the same fate as Pocono. As it had rising crowds. It was going to get better, but it was taken off the schedule, I think, too early. I think by this point, had COVID not happened, Pocono would have proven itself as a staple. You probably could have had, you could not sold out Pocono, but you could at least have 50,000 people show up to a Pocono race at this point if you had left it on the schedule and had COVID not happened. Now Texas has suffered the same fate. You had rising crowds, you had all the ingredients you needed, and they cut it from the schedule because NASCAR stole their date. Nothing about Texas possibly coming back just yet. No confirmation or denial from Mark Miles, which is, that's probably on point for Mark Miles because he doesn't do anything. He's just kind of there. Make Kyle Conley the dictator of IndyCar. That was an endorsed message. Ignore that. I was not paid to do that, but I believe that that's what we need to do. Great follow on Twitter. Go. I'll link him down below. Bring back Michigan. Moving on to some other IndyCar news. Catherine Legg this has been rumored for a while. I just haven't gotten to recording it. Catherine Legg has been rumored to be doing more races in the Coyne Rick Ware car, mostly ovals. So that would be after this week at Indianapolis. It would be Iowa, Gateway, Milwaukee, and Nashville in that 51 Dale Coyne with Rick Ware car, which if we get to see the Elf car more throughout the season, I am all for it because that car looks fantastic. Practice began at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week with 34 cars instead of 35 because Able Motorsports would not be able to get their chassis ready in time due to parts delays that Bobby Rahaal's already griped about. They didn't receive Sato's car until April, which is probably why Sato is one of the slower RLL cars this week. But due to part shortages, Able Motorsports is pulled out from the 500. We are at 34 entries, but there will be a bump day, and it will be quite a sad bump day because there will be one odd driver out. Some good news, actually, on the IndyCar front, for once. I know, incredible. Management doubled down saying that the hybrids will be ready by mid-Ohio, which is great because it's been pushed back and pushed back. They've dropped the 2.4-liter V6 hybrids and just added the hybrid system that they had already developed to the 2.2-liter V6s, which really made Honda mad, and now Honda might leave, which is, great. More issues for IndyCar. Fantastic. Um, at least we're not getting, at least Tony George isn't getting checks behind people's backs by NASCAR to drive the sport into the ground, but maybe Mark Miles is. I don't know. But for now, the date is staying the same. The hybrids will debut at Mid Ohio, which means I don't know the schedule. Mid Ohio is Mid Ohio is July 4th weekend, so we will be seeing hybrids at the rest of the oval races this year at Iowa Gateway, Milwaukee, and Nashville. IndyCar said that there should have been an announcement regarding who gets the TV deal, NBC or Fox. Honestly, I'm kind of leaning toward Fox if they clean up their broadcasts, because with Fox, you'll probably get somebody like, I don't know, Adam Alexander. Because if if they're losing NASCAR Xfinity to the CW, and CW goes with NBC's lineup, which would be great. I love Rick Allen. That means that Adam Alexander would probably go to IndyCar, and Jamie Little would stay at Trucks, which I hope Jamie Little does not become a play-by-play for IndyCar if Fox gets the TV deal, because I like Jamie Little as a pit reporter, but her in the booth as play-by-play, nearly insufferable. Especially combining her with Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. That's why I can't watch a truck race anymore. Because the commentary is frankly awful. Moving on. Adam Stern put on Twitter that IndyCar has said for months that oh wait, I'm reading the wrong tweet. I'm recording this at 9:42 p.m. on a Friday night to get it out by Saturday afternoon. Actually, I might just get this out tonight. Yeah. You're probably watching this post 11 o'clock on Friday night. But it says, where is it? Where'd it go? I just had it. IndyCar is setting up some very impactful schedule moves for 2026, but no major changes are expected for 2025. What this probably means, I have a video where I talk about the schedule lined up. I have it written, actually. I just need to record it and edit it. I have a schedule made. I will actually throw it up on screen, and I will link a Twitter post to it. That is my dream 2025, probably now going to be 2026 IndyCar schedule. But again, this is Mark Miles. Mark Miles said the exact same thing last year, saying that there was going to be a big event for 2025, which probably means that something fell through because Mark Miles is lazy. Mark Miles visited Sao Paulo for the possibility of going back to the old street track that they used in the early 2010s. Denver's been thrown around at the old Champ Car track, which I would not be against. But the two things that fans want the most right now are a return to Texas and a return to Michigan. Oh my word, the fans want Michigan. Including myself. Please, 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 just give us the US 500. Please, I swear, people will show up. But, yeah, Mark Miles has pushed this back a year. Probably Denver, Sao Paulo fell through for next year. So, hopefully, it says no major schedule changes for 2025. I hope that doesn't count Texas, because I think Texas, as long as they don't turn Texas into Atlanta or a 1.25 mile, Dover with a tri-oval, that IndyCar will come back if they just hike the banking back up to 24 degrees, which is probably going to give Marcus Smith the best return on investment here because it's the cheapest, and it's the easiest. It's the cheapest, it's the easiest, it'll make the racing better because turns 1 and 2 are a It's one groove all the way through there. I talked about this on the last podcast. Go watch the last podcast if you want to hear all that. But uh the gist of it is turns 1 and 2 are a one groove. It's a one groove turn, which screws up 3 and 4. There's a massive bump in 3 and 4 that needs to be fixed. But hiking the banking back up to 24 degrees will fix all of NASCAR's problems there, especially considering that the next gen is probably the best car for those mile and a half bowls that we've ever seen. Xfinity trucks, I could care less. And then for IndyCar, it would make it far better. Most of the passing in the IndyCar event at Texas in 2023 was done in 3 and 4, where the banking is higher. No surprise there. Yeah, that's it for my little Texas / anti Mark Miles rant for today. But some of the suggestions via Reddit of what this is going to be is St. Pete is now 8 weeks before the next race. We're kicking off the 2027 IndyCar season with the 2025 Grand Prix of St. Pete. People are saying Texas. People are saying Coda, which Coda would suck because no one's going to show up. You had 30,000 people show up to a road course race that Formula One gets 200,000 people for. That's not going to look good. International races would be awesome. Go to Sao Paulo, go to Argentina, where the markets for IndyCar are massive. Bring in the money so we can actually promote other races. Wouldn't that be incredible that if IndyCar could, if IndyCar's marketing department could have some, brains and promote races outside of the 500? Like, I know Hy-Vee's doing it for Iowa and Milwaukee, but still, oh my word, their promotion sucks. Taking the same talking points, pushed it back a year. The people were saying a Mexico date in March. Probably not going to be Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where F1 races, because 1, F1 races there. 2, you can apparently reach 185 miles an hour going down the front stretch, and apparently with an unrestricted engine, you can hit 306 miles an hour. That's not going to happen. Altitude is great. Pueblo would be cool, but not going to happen. And Querétaro, I have no clue what this is. Oh, it's literally just a street oval. It's a street. It's an oval. It's a street track. But anyway, that sucks. Anyway, moving on to other news. The Andretti F1 disputes reached U.S. Congress, which is really funny because apparently the only thing that Congress can agree on right now is the fact that Andretti needs to be an F1, but the only reason that this is happening is because Liberty Media is an American company, and this may or may not be violating federal antitrust laws. Both of the news items that I have underneath that are old, so let's just jump into this week's races! NASCAR Cup Series and the NASCAR Truck Series are at North Wilkesboro Speedway. The trucks have a points-paying race called the Wright Brand 250, and NASCAR has the All-Star Open and the All-Star Race. North Wilkesboro is already having pavement issues, so good on you, SMI. You've screwed up another track, and it's a whole lot better of a track than Texas. IndyCar is at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Indy 500 PPG Armed Forces qualifying. We may see the record get broken, we may not, but the only way you can find out, other than watching and listening to the podcast, is to watch the race on Peacock. So, go watch qualifying on Peacock. The only other race or event going on this week, Formula One, is at the Autodromo Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Ferrari's looking really good. Red Bull kind of sucks. McLaren is doing pretty well, actually. Those are this week's races. Comment down your questions for next week's Q&A. My name is Nathan. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of the TWIR Weekly Podcast, and I will see y'all next week.